What's going on, everybody? Marvel Cross 316 back with another comic book flashback. And today, folks, we are looking at Marvel Team Up issue number 2. This issue came out in May of 1972. And today, folks, we are going to be looking at Spider-Man teaming up with Human Torch once again, like last issue. And this time, they're going to go up against Sandman again. But this time, Sandman is not alone. He is with the Wizard and Paste Pot Pete, who are members of the Frightful Four. And so what we're going to see here is that the Frightful Four are trying to put together their little quartet here. We know, if you know anything about this time period, Medusa, who is also part of the Frightful Four, has left the team, and now it's just down to 3 of these villains, and so they're trying to recruit somebody. And one of their recruits is going to be none other than Spider-Man. Now, is Spider-Man going to become a villain? That's what we got to worry about in this issue. But before we get started, let's go ahead and give credit where credit is due. This issue is brought to you by Stan Lee, who edited this issue. We have Jerry Conway writing this issue, Ross Andrew on the artwork, Jim Mooney on the inking, and Sam Rosen on the lettering page. And we begin the issue off with Johnny Storm, who is the Human Torch. He is dwelling on his current breakup with Crystal. Now, who is Crystal? Crystal was a member of the Fantastic Four during this time period. She is also an Inhuman, and she is a big love interest to Johnny Storm. And for a long time, they had been dating, they'd been romantically involved, but Crystal decided to go back home on the moon where she's from. There's a base and she's part of the Inhumans. And now it's leaving Johnny Storm feeling all down in the dumps. So he's on this pier dwelling on his thoughts. And while he's thinking about the love of his life and how sorrowful he feels, this guy named Nathaniel comes along, and he's like this drunken guy, I don't know. He's just like on the pier. He's drunk, and he's wanting to give some advice to Johnny Storm. And he says, "Look, man, you just got to make life count. I was once young as well." He said, "We all are." They tell me right now. You're saying to yourself, "What's the point in it all? What's it all bloomin' matter? It matters, lad, if only till you gain yourself a mate, a friend you can trust. That's what makes it count." So Johnny Storm starts thinking about it. He's like, "Yeah, you're right." And he starts running, and it looks like he's going to just plunge right into this river here. And he's like, "Laddie, wait." But he doesn't know that this guy is actually the famed Human Torch, the member of the Fantastic Four. And so we see that the Human Torch is going to flame off here, and he is now going to be on the prowl searching for Spider-Man. And this is where he's going to come across Spider-Man. Spider-Man swinging through the city. He breaks the web line of Spider-Man, causing Spider-Man to plummet down below, and he has to save himself. Luckily, he's able to, in time, snag 2 buildings with his webbing. And he's like, "Man, what's the matter with you? You almost killed me." He said, "Hey, I've just been trying to find you. I just wanted to talk." He said, "Talk about what?" And Spider-Man has no time for chit-chat. And he doesn't really want to talk with the Human Torch. And he says, "See you around, Chuckles. Don't forget to write." Or whatever. So Spider-Man is not really interested in talking with the Human Torch at this point. And if you don't know anything about Spider-Man and Human Torch's relationship, in the very early stages of the Marvel Universe, especially when Spider-Man debuted back in 1963, Spider-Man and the Human Torch really did not get along with each other. They were kind of bitter towards each other. They were rivals. And now we see that over time, now we saw that they teamed up in issue number 1. They're starting to become allies, but they're still their relationship is still kind of rocky. So we see that the Wizard and Paste Pot Pete see Spider-Man swinging past the window here. They are hidden. They're trying to hide from the authorities here. And their big plan in this issue is to get revenge on the Human Torch. And the genius way to do this is to strike the Fantastic Four by striking their youngest member, the Human Torch, who is Johnny Storm. And so that's exactly what their plan is. We see Johnny is now in the Baxter building. He is alone at this time. The other members of the Fantastic Four at this time are in Chicago. And so he's left to just supervise the building. And we see that he gets a buzz on the intercom, and it just so happens to be Spider Man. And so he's going to go down to the elevator to check what this is all about. Why is Spider Man here? Well, we see Spider Man is not making any words at all. And in fact, he strikes Johnny Storm right on the, face here. And so it's like, what the heck is that all about? Is Spider-Man just gone loony or something? And why is he with the Sandman and the Frightful Four? And Spider-Man is not answering any of the Human Torch's questions. Instead, we see that the Human Torch has no choice but to fight back here. And so he starts fighting back against Spider-Man. This is all the big trap here. Spider-Man uses his webbing here, but we see that the Human Torch is able to dissolve that webbing here. It's like, what's wrong with you? Why are you using the same moves over and over again? It's almost as if you're not thinking for yourself. What a fool am I? You are not thinking for yourself. You're under mind control right now. So he finds out that Spider-Man is under the mind control of the Frightful Four. And so what Human Torch has to do is to try to break that mind link between the Frightful Four and Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is being used by the Frightful Four to take down the Human Torch. But we see that Paste Pot Pete uses his paste gun here, and while the Human Torch is down, he is now going to be captured by the Frightful Four, and now the Frightful Four are in control of the Fantastic Four headquarters here. And they're just making a good use of all of Reed Richards' lab, all of his scientific equipment here. And while we see the Wizard is on looking at this big screen here, what he's going to come across is something very frightening here, and that is Annihilus. Now, who is Annihilus? He is another Fantastic Four villain, a very threatening villain, I must add. Annihilus, he made his debut, I believe, in one of the annuals. You'll have to, if you know the annual number, comment down below what you know the number for that. But anyway, folks, he's a very, very dangerous, very dangerous villain. He's gone up against the Fantastic Four and the Avengers in the past, and he's only been defeated by them. And so, Annihilus, the threat of Annihilus is here, folks, and he's trying to break free of his own domain and come into reality here, and he's trying to escape. So that's what the Frightful Four are now dealing with. They're no longer thinking about, beating up Spider-Man or beating up the Human Torch. Instead, they're trying to stop this threat of Annihilus. The Human Torch knows the only way to stop Annihilus is for them to team up with him. So we see that Johnny Storm's flames on. He breaks that paste here, and now he's going to have to get out of this little coat here. So he breaks free of that, but we see Sandman comes across the Human Torch, and while he's about to turn into his sand form, we see that the Human Torch throws a flame ball and causes the Sandman's body to turn into quartz. And so the Sandman is out for the count for the time being. We see that Paste Pot Pete is then going to alert the Wizard. He said, Wiz, I think we got some trouble here. So the Human Torch is now seen on the scene, and he's like, stop him, you fool, so I can stop Annihilus. And we see that he's like, Spider-Man, kill him. So now Spider-Man is sent to stop the Human Torch. So there's another battle that takes place between Spider-Man and the Human Torch. And the Human Torch is like, Spidey, listen to me. You got to break out of this trance. Listen to me. You're a free man. You are a free man. And after hearing those words, it looks like the hold has been broken here. We see that Spider-Man regains his consciousness here, and now Spider-Man and the Human Torch are going to team up here to take down the Frightful Four and stop the threat of Annihilus. So that's what they're going to do towards the end of this. Annihilus is just about to break free when they're like, oh no, he's about to come through. There's no way to stop him. How are they going to stop Annihilus from getting through? Well, because Spider-Man has gone to college and Johnny Storm didn't, he knows one thing that will stop Annihilus, and that is they need to pull the plug. So that's what Spider-Man does, and Annihilus, who is just about to step into reality here, vanishes on the scene here. He says, no, not again, not when I was so close, so very near. The ignominy of it, to be a god in one world, and to be beaten by children in another. And he vanishes here. Oh my goodness, that was very close, y'all. Very close, but they still got to deal with the threat of Sandman. Sandman is back on the scene, and we see that Sandman still being weak after being turned into corpse. Spider-Man then is going to take down Sandman for the count. And there's a lot of damage, a lot to clean up here. Spider-Man is not going to stick around to help Johnny Storm clean up, but we do see, and we have a little bit of hope here, that Spider-Man and the Human Torch are starting to become better friends over time here, especially as they teamed up here in this issue. And so Johnny Storm definitely has a lot to clean up here, but that's the least of his worries and Spidey's worries, because coming up next, folks, in issue number 3, we have the return of the vampire. Yes, that is Morbius. We thought Morbius must have drowned in Amazing Spider-Man issue number 101, but we were wrong, folks. We were wrong, because he's going to make his return in issue number 3. That's coming up next, folks. But before we look at issue number 3, drop a like on this video. That'd be much appreciated. Comment down below what you liked about this issue. Subscribe if you have not. And I will see y'all in the next one.